You're listening to Creating a Universe, a Love Anarchy podcast hosted by William J. Rogers. On this show, we follow the journey of creatives, artists, and entrepreneurs who are making a name for themselves in the ever-evolving landscape of today's industry. Featuring an insight into both Love Anarchy and the Lovaniverse music universe, as well as the individual projects and stories of each of our guests, from the music industry and beyond. So whether you're a budding creative or simply interested in what goes on behind the scenes, this is the podcast for you. Hello and welcome to Creating a Universe. I'm your host, William J. Rogers, and today I am here with Erik Rayne, frontman of the progressive metal band Tales of Arken. How's it going, Erik?
Fine, thanks.
Cool. It's good to have you here, man. Like, we've been speaking for a little while now, and I've been following the band, so it's great to finally get to chat face to face, as it were.
Yeah, the pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me here.
Cool, man. Yeah, it's a pleasure. So, just to start things off, perhaps you'd be able to give like a bit of an overview of who you are and the band and all the things you're doing.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Erik from Tales of Arken, and we are like a progressive metal band, but we started to call ourselves Clockwork Metal. It's just some kind of a joke because we are like dressed on the steampunk dresses and clothes. But I suggest that everyone goes and hear what Clockwork Metal is about.
Yeah, they can hear it for themselves for sure. So, yeah, Clockwork Metal. Yeah, I've seen that. Like, that's what you've got on your Instagram. And yeah, so Clockwork Metal, the idea is that you guys are a metal band that are blending in these kind of steampunk sort of aesthetics, right? So that's where that comes from. But I must admit, like, when I first saw it, I thought, what is Clockwork Metal? What does that sound like? And as you say, you gotta go hear it for yourself. But perhaps what would you say for anybody that's just curious and they haven't heard you yet? How would you describe your sound? You said progressive metal. I've got some ideas, but I'd love to hear you talk about it a bit more.
Well, the thing with Clockwork Metal is just something for people to draw attention. Sure. We don't think that we made just a new kind of music or a new kind of metal or anything like that. But if I have to describe my music as it is now, I would say that we're just making progressive metal with some power metal elements and maybe some death metal elements, but I'm trying to fuse like power metal, progressive metal of many kinds with music from the 30s, the 20s, and maybe from 2 centuries ago, because we decided to have that steampunk aesthetics. But it's we have the aesthetics now, but the music doesn't sound quite like what we want to do it. And when we did the video for Nautilus, we thought, this aesthetic fit us. Let's just try to make some music that sounds steampunk. And that's what our latest track is about. So I suggest to everyone to go hear it and try to find those things that make the music sound like clockwork or steampunk.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I like that. So Allegory, that's the new single. And that's an awesome song, man. Like, I've been listening to that one loads since you released it just a week ago or something. Really, really cool. The chorus is really getting stuck in my head. And I guess I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, you had some very interesting kind of progressive section in that song. It makes sense now you're talking about getting themes of like 20s and 30s music in there and stuff. And that's certainly something you don't hear very often, which is very cool. Very cool. But I'm interested, like, so you said the Nautilus EP, and just for anybody listening, like, you've got your first debut album, Chronicles of the Fall, was it?
Yeah.
And then you have your EP Nautilus, which is 4 tracks, right? And if I'm right, you made music videos for what happened there? Something with the light.
Yeah, I think
no worries.
Right.
It's all looking good anyway, man. No worries.
It's okay.
Yeah. So you had the 4 tracks from Nautilus, and you made music videos for every song, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of like there's some sort of story that you're telling there, which is really cool. But you just mentioned that, so you actually did the steampunk first. That came in just from one of the music videos that you were making.
Yeah, we made it on Nautilus, but it wasn't
Nautilus,
like
yeah.
From now on we will be just a steampunk dress band.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I want to make a song about a submarine that goes on an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
When we made the Chronicles of the Fall, we were like, well, we need some kind of stage presence, and we tried with like some mask we made that had lights on it, and we were trying to make something cyberpunk maybe, but then we realized that it wasn't as cool as we imagined. And then we tried on Nautilus, but we were like lost. We made a song prior to Nautilus. We were like dressed as regular people. And then I thought, well, Nautilus, it's good to say, but steampunk is really hard to make something for me, because it's not like many things about that. But it was after that song when we decided to go dress like that to the next videos and to be like that on the stage. And it was also on that moment that we decided that we were good like telling stories, fantasy stories in our music. So Nautilus was the first one to do that, and then we decided that that's the way to go.
Cool. I like that. So so it started with Nautilus. You kind of found yourselves creatively with that, and then, as you say, this new single, Allegory, that you've just brought out, that is you kind of like really coming from this place from the get-go. Like, you knew that you wanted to set out to create this song. Like, you kind of really found your feet now in this steampunk infused metal that you've got. Yeah, really cool, man.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, so, but in terms of your sound, like, I would say you got a progressive metal sound, which is a very broad thing. We've spoken quite a lot on this podcast with various guests about progressive music and what a wide range of music that actually covers. But like, I'm definitely getting some vibes in your music of things like maybe there's some early Dream Theater and stuff like that in there. But like, you've also got a very like melodic metal, some power metal kind of sounds in there as well. As you say, you mix in these sort of melodic death metal parts as well. That's all really cool. Another really great thing about your band, which I think is something that's also developed by the seams of it, is that all band members are doing vocals, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's really cool.
We did that like unintentionally. Someday I realized that, whoa, on the previous track we all sang. Like, well, nice. The drummer, she is a singer in another band, and it was like, what a waste if you don't sing on my tracks. I need you to be singing here. And the other 2 band members, Billy, the bassist, he doesn't sing on melody, but he does really good growls. And it was like, I don't especially like growls. I don't usually sing growls. I don't like it that much, but he loves that. And it was like, well, if we are making this band together, maybe you want to sing some growls, like, do it. And then the guitar player, when I hear him singing, this was like, you sing really well. You have to sing now. And this songs really improved from that point, because preview to not having them on the band, it was like, I made on the Chronicles of the Fall a few backing vocals that no one singing on live.
Yeah.
And then he came in, is like, well, now it sounds like it have to sound like some kind of musical or maybe something like that.
Nice. That's really cool. I mean, Yeah, by now, especially like the last track and a lot of the Nautilus EP, that's one of the real features, I think, is these vocal arrangements with different voices coming in and all these different tonalities as well. Like, it's super cool. You have a very kind of rich vocal that's going on there. You know, quite a like powerful, semi operatic kind of style, and then like there's the drummer. Is it Hale? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
And we call her Haley, but we write it
Haley.
Hale.
Right, Haley. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and she's obviously female for a start, so that gives a totally different tonality, and she's got quite a nice, almost sweet voice, and then bassist Billy, you said with growling and stuff. So it's really nice and it's really dynamic, and it keeps things fresh and interesting all the way through, which is super
that is
cool.
my intention always. Like my vocal training is about lyrical singing, like operatic vocals.
Right, but, makes sense.
Thanks. You know, not many people notice it. Like when they speak to me, they think that as am I metal singer, I just learn to scream, like singing like really high by myself. And then when I tell most people that I had lyrical training, they're like, really? What does opera have to has in common with metal music? It's like a lot. Many singers are lyrically trained, and you can notice it if you say like both styles of singing require to sing like on a complex technique. And I use my opera training to sing on every track. And it really helps to not harm your voice and sound like with whole control of your voice.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I found that almost very obvious. Like, I thought that you have a really great kind of operatic voice. Obviously, it's different when you sort of adjust it to metal, but yeah, I could tell that that's your approach, which is really great. I mean, so do you do a lot of that, or you did that in the past, or like operatic kind of training? Have you like sung opera, anything like that? Is it an interest of yours as well?
Yeah, I did it. Like I when I was learning to sing, and I had my teacher, a Russian opera singer. She only trained me to be an opera singer, but she knew that I wanted to sing metal. And on the first place, it was like, well, can I apply this to my music? And she was like, just stay calm and practice, and you will see like you can reach higher notes more naturally with this training. And she was right. Like, wow, these have many things in common that I knew.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, I mean, it definitely worked. I mean, I think there's like a high note right at the end of the EP, right? That's just rather high, man. So A5. I was wondering what note it was. I didn't have my piano to go boop, but yeah, that was absolutely killer, man. So yeah, it's awesome.
It's another. I'm afraid of that note. It's like when I'm on the stage. I'm like really tired. It's like I may hit that note, I may not.
Yeah.
Luckily,
I bet, man.
For now, I've always sung that note on the stage, but I'm afraid that the day that comes, I cannot sing that A5 anymore. Like my voice is grown old.
It's all right, man. I'm sure if you keep if you keep in good shape, you'll be all right. But no, wicked, man. Sounds great. So I mean, I'm really interested then, just in more of like, just your background, your story. Like, when did you first get into music?
Myself specifically, you mean into music or just into Tales of Arken? You mean at the beginning of it all?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. If you want to talk about that, or
Yeah, there's no problem about that. But I never thought about that. It's like one day I'm just thinking I'm going to have my hair growing long, and the next day is like, wow, I've been 10 years making metal music. But
nice.
If I try to go back, it was like I always like music. Like my father is a musician. My grandfather, he used to be the bassist for Santana in New York.
Wow,
And
cool.
yeah, they all it's something that is in the blood, because nobody on my family told me like, have you thought about learning music? It was something that one day just wasn't me, and it was I need to make music. And then I found myself in the situation that I want to make music, but I don't know what kind of music I want to make. Like I sing, I play. I started playing alto sax.
Oh wow, cool.
In a band when I was like 9 years old, like really young, I think.
Nice.
And it was like, well, that's not the instrument that I want to play. Then I discovered like the 60s and 70s rock, like Deep Purple, Pink Floyd, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I really love that band.
Nice. So
and it was like, well, I really want to make this, but no one advised me that metal music is like going to waste. It's like dying. But if I have to pick between like popular Spanish music and metal, I'll be always playing metal. And it was something like that. Like it has always been inside of me. And then one day I started playing. I started with a guitar, not singing, but I tried on many bands. And we couldn't find a singer, and they told me like, well, you doesn't sound bad, try. And that's where it all started.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that as well. I got in as a guitarist, just playing metal guitar all the time, and then finding a good singer is very, very difficult, man. Very difficult, especially when you're restricted to like your local area.
Yeah, right. In a really small town, like wow.
Yeah. So you have to kind of become the singer, you know. Somebody has to bite the bullet. Somebody that has the initiative. So we're similar in that way. Like, yeah, that's cool. But you've done a great job at it, man. Because like, as we've spoken about already with your voice. So I guess probably it's similar then that you were like playing in bands. In when you were in school and things like that, trying to make metal bands and stuff like that, and then eventually kind of kept doing it until Tales of Arken came about, or
but well, I was on metal bands. I started like when I was around 16, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
And what I found on bands that I played is that I just wanted to make music. I just wanted to create something new, something different. But people on bands were like, I just want to smoke weed, drink beer, and play covers. And I used to be like someone with a really bad character. Like I got really angry. Like, why are we paying for the rehearsal studio if we don't play? We have to make music. And then I got tired. Like, I can't stand this anymore. I want to make my own music on my studio. And then I met Billy, the bassist, and the two of us made the Chronicles of the Fall. Like, I made the music, and he came and said, well, I want to make my bass lines and growls. And I was like, cool. He's really supportive. Like, many times, because I was making the music like kind of alone in my room, 1 hour of an album, and many times I was like, oh, I cannot go on, this is really hard, it sounds like shit, I cannot sing this, I cannot play that solo that I made. And he was like, no, you have to go, move forward, you can do it, good. Go on. And that's why the band exists now, so it's thanks to him. But initially I thought of it like a solo project. It's not anymore.
Yeah, cool. So that's cool. So really, it came off of your initiative then. You were in your room producing your own music, basically. And so that's everything. Like, you've programmed the drums and then written the songs, recorded the guitars, recorded the vocals, all yourself, basically. That's how it started.
Yeah, something something I'm sad about is like, if my bands from when I was like just 20 or 22 was like a bit more serious, I could have released an album earlier and I could have started before. But it's like when Chronicles of the Fall was released, I was 27, and I thought like, wow, I'm so old to get into the music now. But then something I do, something I usually do is like, I see like artists I like, and I was, when they released their first album, and it was, he was like 29. Oh, he was like 30. And I'm thinking, why am I thinking that I'm old? I'm not. I think I'm not.
No, 100%, man. I think that, that's almost a trick that we play on ourselves. There's this kind of idea that like, you should be like a teen pop star or something. And that we should all...
I think that like it's not something that no one told me, like you are old now for making music. It's like something I say to myself, but I used to say that to myself from when I was 20. I was 20. I was like, wow, my time is running out. What am I doing with my life?
Man, I 100% relate to that. I've always been the same, because when I was young I was always like trying to chase it and trying to be ahead of where I was, and I always felt like that, and I knew exactly what you meant. Like I remember being literally 20, thinking like, oh no, it's all like over now, as if you should have already been world famous by the time you were 16 or something. It's ridiculous.
Does it happen to you too that like you were a few years back when you were just 20 or 19, that you felt older than you feel now as you get older?
Bad. Yeah. This is something I'm not sure if it was on the podcast before or not, but I've definitely spoken with a few people about this. That like, it's just that thing. Like, almost when you're younger, you kind of feel like you know it all more. You feel like you know everything, and that like, you're on top of everything. And the older you get, the more you realize like how bullshit that is, basically, and you don't know anything, and it brings you back down to earth and puts things in perspective. And as you say, like the years kind of, they go faster when you're younger as well. So when you're older. So
but I do feel like kind of younger now, comfortable with my age and situation. But when I was 20, that I was like, wow, my time is running out. There's a lot. And now it's like, no, it's not. I'm using my time wisely.
Definitely. Especially in metal, like nobody cares. Like, a lot of the big bands out there, the dudes are in their 50s and stuff. Or like the biggest bands, obviously, they're old. They're grandpas,
A few days back, I saw a video of Steve Perry from Journey. Singing at the age of 73, and it was something like, wow, how can he sing like that?
He's a great singer, man.
Just amazing. It's wow. I wish I could sing like that now.
But that's it. He's got the experience, man. He's been doing it his whole life, and that's it. Like, I think that in general, like we appreciate that, especially in metal and stuff. Like, it's really about the music first, obviously image and everything is important, but it's not all about being a sexy 20-year-old or 18-year-old or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's about the music first and foremost.
That's right. It's about the music, not just being young.
And
being in a fashion.
Exactly, man. Exactly. I mean, you mentioned that earlier about metal compared to what's popular in Spain or whatever. And that goes for all over the world, like whatever's popular and mainstream. That's the beautiful thing about metal. Like, metal will never be the mainstream, like what's popular, but it's always there. It never dies, It's ever since it came about, like it always has a very, very strong devout following, and that's never going to go away. So it's all good.
It used to be like more popular in the 80s, It was like
sure, yeah.
kind of the mainstream music. But well, everything was better in the 80s. I wish that I could live that.
The 80s is that, yeah, fair enough. I mean, so yeah, it makes sense as well, like with your music, like you do have that kind of classic melodic sound coming through in there as well. So would you consider that the heyday? What would it be? Bands like Iron Maiden, Queensryche, maybe?
Yeah, I do love Queensryche.
Yeah. I think I can kind of hear that in the music. Sure. Yeah.
A few people tell me that, but like Queensryche is not really popular here in Spain. But people from outside is like, "Wow, dude, you kind of remind me a bit to G of Tate." And it's like, well, he is lyrical trainer singer too, and cool. He's really good. Like I've heard a few days back too a video when he was singing "Queen of the Reich Live Now," and he's been without singing that like for 20 years maybe, without singing Queen of the Reich or any song that goes hard, and it was like, whoa, he got young again.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that you can relate at least my style of singing to Queensryche, maybe a bit to Iron Maiden. Vision Divine, I don't know if you know Mikel Lupi. And that's a style of singing that I like. One problem that I have with that is that I love melodic singers, but I do love bands like Avatar or Children of Bodom on the guitar. And it's like, whoa, it's a bit hard to mix that.
Yeah, because it's, because I mean, that's very melodic harsh metal, basically, like Children of Bodom or whatever. Like, yeah, it's got the screamy, more extreme metal style, but it's very, very melody driven, kind of power metal sort of vibes in there. But it's cool, yeah. Children of Bodom was that I loved Alex Alejo and Children of Bodom when I was like young teenager getting into shredding guitar. It was mind blowing, man. Like,
I relate to that
as a kid.
I relate to that.
Your guitar, I don't know. It reminds me a lot of Alex Alejo. I don't know if that's like you have a Jackson Rhodes, is it?
It's the guitar that he had on the first 3 albums, I think.
The back, the original one. I love that one before he went to ESP.
Yes.
Yeah. He had the Jackson. I think it's a Jackson Rhodes. Yeah. I got a Jackson Rhodes as well because of that. It was a different one, not his one, but like, yeah, I got one because I just thought it was the coolest.
Well, the yellow pebbles on the borders, it's not like I want it to be yellow because of Alex Alejo. But it was like I wanted the bubbles to be orange or maybe red, but I couldn't find it. I just found
the
black with the yellow, and it was like, well, fair enough.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It looks good. Classic guitar, man. So that's sweet. But yeah, I wanted to go back a little bit just to the process of you making your music, because what I gathered is you basically, after being in various bands and stuff, you just took everything on yourself and like were making your own music at home. And then you had Billy, the bass player, come in and like first just like moral support, and then he's kind of joining as a bass player, talking about making bass lines for your songs, basically.
Yes.
That's kind of how it evolved. So in terms of that first album then, Chronicles of the Fall, is that like literally you and Billy producing that yourself, and then like did you do everything on that? Did you mix and master it and produce it?
No, I made the record. I recorded it on my home, but I tried to mix it. And it was like, I'm not sure if I am the proper one to mix that album. Then I contacted some man, Martin. He's a known musician from Spain on the metal scene. And I spoke with him. And it was like, I'm not sure if I'm the one to mix it, and he told me that I work mixing albums. I can do it for you. Like, I'm not sure if I want you to mix my album. I'm not sure about that. It's something very personal. What if you destroy the music? And it was like, man, calm down. Think that your music is forever, and you may want to hear that album like a few years forward, and then think, whoa, it still sounds good. And that's why I decided to make the Chronicles of the Fall with them, and Nautilus also. Then with Allegory and the next album, this new era is with another producer. Someone else is mixing and mastering, because Chronicles of the Fall and Nautilus sound good, but I don't think they sound like Tales of Arken is supposed to sound. Like, they sound metal, but I don't want my band to just be another metal band. I want it to be something else, something with charisma, like something kind of unique, at least as sounding. And then I talked with a friend I know from Venezuela, Luis Loyo, and he was like, I need my own sound. I want to have my own guitar sound. I want you to treat my vocals like I want them to sound. And he was like, I can do it for you. Send me the tracks and I'll do my best. And then I don't think that I've improved that much from Nautilus to Allegory, because the composition process were like at the same time.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Something that improved the sound is changing producer. It's not because Martin did anything wrong. He's really good. I recommend him to everyone. But it's like, now it sounds like it have to sound. And I really was with that. But yes, always a process. It's me hours and hours recording and hearing what I made, and I don't like that, I have to make it again. Then the next day I go back and I think, I didn't sing that part well. We didn't record that guitar all good. We have to make it again until it sounds like, wow, now it's good.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, so in a way, really, you're the producer, or you're the main kind of
songwriter.
Songwriter, and yeah. So you're writing the songs, you're arranging the songs for the most part, with, I guess, managing the contributions of the other members, and you're like managing the recording as well.
Yes.
It's then, once you've kind of got all the pieces together, you send it off for mixing and mastering.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool. So that's great. Then you guys put that album together. I think that first album is fantastic, by the way, and yeah, I think it sounds killer. Yeah, really cool. But then, so I'm interested in the story of how it grew from there, and how it evolved to the other band members joining, and getting towards the Nautilus EP. Like, how did that all come about?
Well, at first, when it was just Billy and me, we wanted this band to not just being a studio project. We wanted to go live. And then we tried with many people. But problem that I have with them is the same problem that I had when I was younger and I was trying to be in bands. It's like a compromise. They don't compromise. They just do it for fun. It's like, we just want to have fun. We don't want to get into a band and work like it's a work, because it doesn't make profit. We have problems with compromise, and we tried. We were like 1 year, the year before the first album went out, we tried with a drummer and another guitar player. About that time, I used to play guitar live. I'm not playing guitar again as I sing, because it's really hard. But we tried with them, but they were really good people. They're really good friends. But we were like living in distant part of here in the south of Spain. We thought that it's not a good idea to move forward. I wanted to make an album with them, but they didn't seem to be like into that as much as Billy and me were. And then I was like searching for a new drummer in my city, And someone told, I knew a girl that plays drums really good. And it was like, really? Oh, a girl playing a drum. I never thought that someone like that was on my city, because it's really a small city. And when I met her, it was like, this girl is a pro, as in on terms of attitude. And she was who introduced me to the guitar player, because they were friends from the same city.
Cool.
And at first I thought, well, this is another time like playing with new musicians, but then they will move out, and then it will be Billy and May again. I never thought that they will compromise with the band to that point. Like now I don't feel like it's Billy and me, and then session musicians. Like we are, and I feel like we are a whole band now.
Cool. That's great. That's so good to get, man. I'm so happy that you finally managed to piece together that band and have that camaraderie. Yeah, really cool, man. So you found Haley, basically. Those two members, they essentially came together, and so that's you as a 4-piece. And you mentioned that, like, so I guess on the record or whatever, you're writing the songs on guitar a lot and you're recording guitar, but then in the live setup you don't play guitar at all now. Is that right?
Yeah, I used to. But the problem with writing music is like I play the best guitar lines that I think that I want to make some guitar lines like kind of technical and hard. And then when I make the guitar and I start making the vocals, maybe sometimes I make it at the same time. I prefer to, but I do at the same time, but separately. Like first I have one line on vocals on guitar, and then on the other side, I never thought like playing it together. Like I don't make my music like playing with it, the guitar and singing at the same time. And like,
sure, yeah.
Wow, what have I done to myself? I cannot believe that live.
Especially in progressive metal, I mean, you don't get that very much. Like vocalists that are playing these like guitar parts that are quite intricate and difficult vocal parts. I mean, yeah, that's making life very difficult. So the guitar player is Ali, is that right?
Yes.
Is that cool? I got that right. So is Ali like, he covers all of the guitar live then, I guess?
Yeah. I bet him in trouble, because it was like I would try to have 2 guitar players, one to play his guitar and another one to play mine. Yeah. And it was like, well, there are really hard solos, because we have a song called Broken that has a really complex solo that I didn't make. We invited a guest guitar player to make that solo, and when it was like recording, it was something like, wow, how are we supposed to play that live?
Yeah.
And then we tried with a few guitar players, but we weren't like comfortable with them. And I told Lale, we have 2 options. One, we keep on searching a new guitar, or 2, you learn all the solos of all the albums, previous ones, and the albums that we will make now. And I'm like a really terrible person, because I said from now on you will be making all the solos, so you don't have to worry, just make your thing. And then I made the solos that I play on Allegory, and it's like you have to learn this too.
Yeah, because you both played a solo on that song, right?
Yeah, but it was something like, I have this solo here, I like that solo, I cannot just get rid of it. I have to record this. I'm sorry, man, that I had to do that. And yesterday when we were on the rehearsal, it was like, I learned your solo, look. Nice. It was like, I'm sorry, man, I'm giving you too much work. And I asked him to sing also. It's like, sorry, I know you have too much pressure on yourself.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, you've got like some harmony parts going on and rhythm and lead, and as you say, like sections where you do a solo, then he does a solo. But then, yeah, in the live setup, has to do everything.
Yeah.
and it didn't work with another guitarist, or did you try that, or you
Yes,
just
we tried
decided?
it. By the time if you watch After Dark and Nautilus, we have another guitar.
Right,
he didn't record anything. Like he was just invited to play by that time. He made the solo for After Dark, but you can see him playing solos on Nautilus, but he's just playing my parts. But I thought, well, I don't want to be playing the guitar on the video when I have two guitarists. It's like, it doesn't feel right. But we were playing with him, and we had a really big gig 1 year ago, and we told him we're getting paid a lot of money for playing music. They paid like the flight tickets.
Wow,
they paid for the hotel. Like they were really wishing for us to go there and play. And he said to me, like, it's summer. I have things to do with my friends. I want to go on a camping or something like that. It's for real. We are going to play outside of our country, and you are telling me that you don't want, because you want to have fun with your friends at your age. It was like, no, I don't want this to happen to me again. I need people that feels like they're compromised to play that, like it's their job, because I feel that this is my job. I don't get paid for it, but I get paid on satisfaction, maybe.
No, for sure. That's the thing is, as you said, the ultimate difference is like when you're starting a band, is it just a hobby or just for some fun, just hanging out with some friends?
Yeah.
Or it's either that or it's a business, basically.
I've never felt like it's some funny moment for me. Not even when I started playing because I really wanted to make this my living. Back in the day, now I think that I can't. Back in the day, it was like, whoa, I want to be a professional. I want to be the best musician that I can and to develop the best music that I can. And that's a problem that we spoke before. Like people is not on that mood.
Yeah, the majority of people aren't. Yeah, that's for sure, because it's hard. And as you say, it's not all about fun. In fact, a lot of it is not fun when that's the case. But yeah, I can definitely relate, and I'm sure most people that have taken this seriously can relate to that, because it just goes with the territory, really. So yeah, shame to hear that didn't work out, but like I understand. So really, you guys got another guitarist, and he just ended up not being a good fit.
Yeah.
But
because he was good. He was a really good player. But the problem is the attitude. If you are like the best one, but you don't have the right attitude, it can work.
Yeah, the attitude is more important, really. So yeah, but so you guys would be open to another guitarist, or you're just decided to stick with one guitarist live? Or
well, we're not looking for another guitarist anymore, but if if the right person shows, I don't think we will be saying no, because we just want to be fun now. But we're not looking for another one, because we were looking for a new guitarist, and we were like not playing live until we find another guitar. But now it's like we feel good like we are, but if we meet some guy or some girl that plays guitar and it's like, I really want to be in your band, I think we will be open to it. So it won't be a problem. It will be a relief for Ali.
Yeah, cool, man. I'm with you. That's cool. So okay, with the four piece then.
For now, yeah.
Yeah. And well, you mentioned the other guitarist contributed a bit, but like I'm interested then, like in terms of the creative process and the production and everything for Nautilus. How did that differ from the first album? Like with all the members coming in and singing and the writing, what was the same? What was different?
Well, one of the main differences from one album to another is like I have more tools to work with. When I made Chronicles of the Fall, like I knew that I have keyboards, guitars, Billy playing the bass and growls, and that's all I have. I didn't thought about taking like a female vocal into the track. But now having them, it's like I know my bandmates, I know what they can do, what can I ask for them, and I have like more tools. But that's on the things that I have at hand for making me music. But a really huge difference between Chronicles of the Fall and Nautilus is that when I made Chronicles of the Fall, I was going through a really hard depression. I was really in a bad mood. Like, I was going like a hard time of my life, and it was like I don't know if I can make this album. And then I think probably the music sounds like kind of sad or nostalgic. I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah,
but it was supposed just to be a melodic metal, cold. Maybe that what I said, sad. And then Nautilus, we started on that way on After Dark, but it was like let's try and make another kind of music. Instead of talking about personal life situations on a metaphorical way, let's try and let's talk about adventures instead.
Right.
And we tried to make like a funny song. You know, Nautilus is about going on a submarine on an adventure. It's like something more funny, maybe. It's like for kids, for everyone.
Yeah.
And I felt like, wow, this really helps me feel better. Another light went out, but I thought about that and I put my light on.
It's okay.
And we tried that way. And it was like, this really suits the band more than just playing depressive songs. Now that when we play now, I don't feel like they are that different. I don't feel like the same mood because I'm happy. I'm singing on a really good attitude. Oh, this is great. And like the first songs, the first album that we are currently playing live because we don't have songs enough to get rid of it. Feels like playing Nautilus songs, but I do feel difference between the first album and especially from Nautilus on forward. On later Utopia, The Flow and the Shades and Allegory, they are really songs with that adventure kind of sound. And that's the greatest difference. Like we want to be Tales of Arken. Stories of Arken. We used to be just Arken. But we had we had problems with the name, and it was like, let's change the name to Tales of Arken and let's change the music into that. I'm not sure if it was that we decided the name before or if we decided the themes of the songs before, but now it fits. Now it feels like they fit.
Yeah, I'm with you. So yeah, the band started as Arken, and the first album you released as Arken. Then. Is
yes.
That right? Okay, yeah. But then essentially the creative difference here especially was lyrically, and yeah, it became Tales of Arken because you added this kind of fantastical kind of component to it. That's really cool, man. Really, really, really cool. So, I mean, I like working with stories and like concepts as well, because like the thing is, in one way, like, yeah, sure, it's a lot more kind of like fun in a way, but it also still has meaning to it, right? And there's still like real expression and emotion in there. You're just using the metaphor.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to make. I'm just trying to take metaphors into it. Like I don't want the songs just being too far from us and how we feel. So we make our personal thoughts and feelings on the music, like behind, under the adventure, but we really want to keep it singing metaphors. There are lots of metaphors on Nautilus, for example. You can take this song from both sides. Like, is it just an adventure, or it's something that is told in a metaphor way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, man, exactly. So it's not like you don't have to sacrifice real meaning and emotion, you know, to have a fantasy story. It's really, you have both, you know. And I think it's a misconception people have sometimes. So they think, oh, you're just singing about fantasy, whatever, you know. It's actually, yeah, it's a lot more than that, which is really cool. And I like what you said about how even the songs from the first album feel different now. And for me, from what you've said, like, that's really cool, because it shows how, like, the first album, it was you by yourself, where it started at least, going through a hard time, you know, and, you know, other projects and bands you'd been in didn't work out. So there's a lot of frustration there, a lot of let down by people that just, you know, aren't serious enough. And yeah, you're basically processing that through making music. You know, that's your kind of almost like a therapeutic thing for your lonely musical endeavor, you know?
Yes.
So
definitely is therapy for me. And maybe a side story, like we were like two adventurers, Billy and me, and we found they too. That's why we're telling on the side of Allegory. We're Billy and me on one side, and Hale and Ale on another, and then at the end of the video we found together, like
all together.
Oh, wow, hi.
That's wicked, man. That's so good. It's so good, and it just shows that, like, your relationship with the music started in that kind of lower, lonely place, and that's why for you it felt like a more of a sad kind of thing. And then now, where it is with you guys all being a band together and you all really having something special there, your association is that it's a really positive thing and it's really great fun, which is wonderful. And so you even can play those songs from the first album, but they're in a whole new context now, which is great, man. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, cool, man. So in terms of like producing, like, so you've got these lyrics and this different kind of style that you took on Nautilus, but like, I guess it started from you again with your laptop and your guitar or whatever, just like writing songs. And how does it work when you're like, okay, I'll get one of the other guys to sing now, or, you know, and do the others like contribute parts to the writing, or
sometimes they make like small arrangements. They like they understood now how the music of Tales of Arken work, because the beginning it was only just on my head, and I'm thinking that song, then I get to my home and I try to make it live. I will bring this song to life. But if they tried to make songs by themselves, but it was like they don't sound like Tales of Arken is supposed to. Just yesterday we were like practicing a new song, and they came with something that fit the song, and more and more they're involving on the composition, because it's not like I want the song to be like that and no one can change that and
Sure, but as you say, it is important that there's a consistency. Like you do have a style that you go for compositionally, and that means that if somebody was to create something completely separate by themselves from scratch, that would be obviously separate. It is definitely more about them playing into, you know, what you've got.
That's it. And then I always try to make a guitar line affordable for Ale. And when I make vocal melodies, and well, most times I call Hale and I told her, come to my home, I need to record some female vocals here. And then she just have take the mic and she will come with a melody. Like, it's really fast, like everything goes smooth. It's really easy to work with them.
That's great. That's awesome, man. That's just how you want it. Yeah, really cool. So Yeah, and now you have what you have now, which, as I said before, like these intertwining vocal parts and counter melodies are just super special. Like the chorus of Allegory, like is you and Hale, right? Like sort of singing intertwined counter melodies. That's beautiful, man. Like sounds so good. So really, really cool. And like in terms, and I'm curious a little bit, like not going too much down a rabbit hole, but like in terms of this story or the concept that you have, like you mentioned about a submarine for
Yes.
Nautilus. Like, are all the songs? Is there like a story that links all of these together? Like, is it a concept EP, or how does that work in terms of the stories and lyrics and things?
When I when I made the Chronicles of the Fall, I wanted to be a concept album, but I was like not ready to make a concept album, and it was like, well, it's something. I tried to make a story back then, but it didn't work. And then we just made different songs that kind of fit together. If you watch on the metaphorical and inner part of it. But when we made Nautilus, we was just trying to make different stories from that song Nautilus on forward. But on the next album, it's a whole concept album.
Wow, cool.
We want to make a long concept album, and it's being the challenge that I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And then we thought that, well, this concept album doesn't have to be his something. We can take Nautilus, Lady Utopia, and The Full and the Sage and put on this world as well. Like fit that songs on the story, because it's Tales of Arken, and the world may be called Arken, for example. And then all the stories that we will tell could be something like the stories that happen on that world called Arken. But definitely this new album will be a concept album for sure. Cool. And Nautilus and The Full and the Sage, at least those two tracks are like canon.
Nice, I see. Yeah. I love that, man. I mean, I'm big into concepts in music and stuff for sure, man. So I can definitely get nerdy for that, and it's exciting to hear you talk about it. So, I mean, I don't know how much you're able to talk about it at this point, but like you've mentioned about working on an album, like where are you guys at with that? And so the new song, is that a part of something bigger that's coming up then?
It's the opening track, the first one.
Oh, wow.
That's why we put that to be continued at the end of the song.
Right, yeah, of course.
That when I made that song, I wasn't sure if it would be the first one on the album. I had the lyrics, but I thought having another song. But when I heard that song like mixed, it was like, no, we have to start with this track.
Nice.
We will make an intro, I think. The EP doesn't have an intro, and I like intros in every album.
Sure, yeah. Especially a concept album.
I cannot regret not having an intro and an EP, but 4 songs with an intro, wow, why? But on that concept album, yes, Allegory is the first track. Nice. I'm not sure if I can spoil the story yet.
Because, sure.
What I can tell you is that on that album, there will be 2 different stories, like 2 lines, that they are connected somehow.
Cool.
But not just like they are both going at the same time at the same place. It's like we have what we saw, like the fantastic story that we made, the scene in Allegory with soldiers and the fire and the village and that, all that stuff. And then we will have another side story that is connected to that, but on a very different way.
Cool.
And then we will like make it together. But I really want to make videos, like music videos for all the tracks, and maybe even I'm thinking about making short films, because I have my own recording equipment.
Wow!
And that we made all the recent videos. And I want to just make music videos for all and short films to tell the story and people to be like into it, like what's going on here.
Wow, yeah. So okay, let's talk a little bit then about your music videos and the process there. Like, you guys are self-producing that, or
Yes.
what? So do you film it and edit it yourself, or?
Yes, we tried. By the time that we made After Dark, we tried with another guy, but we were like really not convinced of working with some people, and we tried just some other people to make the songs, so to make the videos. They were like expensive, and they couldn't afford to make what I wanted for the videos, because Nautilus, it was a challenge. And then I really like to make videos. It's something that I wanted to try. I got my cameras and my light, and it was like, let's try Nautilus. And then we just set a green screen. We put ourselves in front of a camera with lights to simulate like we're on undersea in a submarine. And then I made the submarine on Unreal Engine. And it was like, well, the camera is not good, but the video has some charm on it. And then I thought, from now on, I will make the videos. And then I bought a new camera, new lights, and new setup. And it was like, now I'm ready to make good music videos like Allegory. Now we can make it on folky, and with good lights and nice setup.
Wow, and so you then taking all the footage yourself, and then you said you're building stuff in Unreal Engine. You had all of this like CG fire and everything, like the village being on fire in the last video.
Yeah,
you've done all of that yourself.
Yes, I use After Effects. Wow. It was the first time that I used that. It was like, well, I have After Effects. I want to set this village on fire. How can I do that? And I was like 2 days looking how to do it. And it was like, well, I think I'm ready now. And then I set the village on fire.
Wow. I mean, that must be a lot of work, man.
Yeah, it is. I'm a workaholic.
I get that, man. Yeah. Oh, especially between producing music and making videos, it's a serious amount of work. I don't think people that don't do it probably cannot get like a fraction of the idea of how much goes into that, man.
It's something hard because sometimes it's like, well, most people doesn't give value to what we are doing. A problem with that is people on social media are every day seeing thousands of new bands out there, like we are releasing a new album or a new single that we made on our home, and then we go to an abandoned place and we got our phones and record the video. Now you have this new video. So if people are seeing that many bands, why they would take time for me and my music and my videos? And that's the real challenge.
Yeah, that's it. Cutting through the noise, basically. That's the challenge we all have to face.
Many times I felt frustrated. Like I felt sad of not getting enough views, streamings. But it is something that even when it has its sad part, I can't just stop making that. It's like breathing.
Yeah, man, 100%. I agree with you. It's something you've just got to do. And do you know what? I think the key goes back into something we spoke about earlier, which is it's that thing about like what your relationship with it is. And at first it was maybe not so positive, but then now where you have the band and you have the guys and there's a really positive vibe around it, it's just to like enjoy the process, right? You know, to live in the moment, and like it takes time, and like to build up a presence and to get streams and all of this, it takes time, and it's that tip of the iceberg thing. You know, we all just see like, oh, that person's been successful now, they just did that, but you know, so much has gone into that. So the best thing you can do is just it's just set yourself up to enjoy the process.
To enjoy the process. Something I started doing that now. Like I used to live on the future, and living on the future is anxiety. Like, I have to make that album for the moment. I have to make that video. I have to make it now. Like time is running, and that's full of anxiety. And now it's more like, let's take our time. Let's make music that we enjoy. And if we don't have the album ready for now, well, we can spare a few more months. Not much. Not much, because I want the album to be on 2023 out there.
Cool. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, it sounds like it's coming along pretty well. We've already got a single, and like, there's some murmurings that you mentioned there that sound as if the album is shaping up pretty well at this point. So so it's a 2023 release is what we're
I hope so. Yeah.
Aiming for. Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, and video. Yeah, we were speaking about the videos. That's ambitious, but like I know what you mean. I as well. I think that we clearly have a lot of similarities because
I think so. Yeah.
I set out for this one time as well with my old band. We were like, hey, let's make the album, and then because we want to kind of tell stories with it and like set it in this world, we'll make a music video for every song. And then the whole thing will basically be like a short film. I definitely had that idea as well. The only thing is that is a hell of a challenge, man. And like we definitely did not get as far as you guys have. I mean, you've already made 4 or 5 videos. How many of these videos have you made now?
Story related. We only made Nautilus, The Fall of the Sage, and Allegory, 3 videos. For the concept album, it only counts this last one. But on the paper, it's really easy just to write about. Let's make a short film with a story, and then let's get it done, isn't it? And it's not something like, well, this is harder than I thought. And I thought it will be hard, but not that kind of challenge. It's huge.
It's a massive challenge. Yeah. It's a massive challenge. And I mean, we did one video in the end, and we planned a bunch more, but like, especially with no budget, it's a hell of a challenge, man. Hell of a challenge. But man, I believe that you can do it. Seeing your videos that you have now, and the fact that you're able to like produce all that yourself, like, that's awesome, man. So I'm looking forward to the concept album and the short film that goes with it.
Well, it will be collection of short films. I think if I make it just a film with everything, I don't think it will fit together well. It will be more like
separate videos. I'm with you. That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, I'm very excited for that. And in terms of the other aspects, I mean, I guess live, like how much is live music featuring in your guys' world right now?
Not as much as we wanted, because for me, if it was only my call, I would want to play like every weekend. But it's being really hard because there are too many bands, and then that comes with overbooking of the places to play. We have a show now on next month.
Cool.
And thanks to the new manager that we have,
cool.
We will be playing a lot more, I believe.
Great.
And then the next year from February on forward.
Cool.
On the whole country. But it's a bit mixed feeling, because on one side, I really want to be playing out there as much as I can. But on the other side, I want to stop playing on Spain, or just only in Spain. I want to go out there. But if it's hard to play in our country, going outside, especially when you don't have the budget for it.
No, 100%. Yeah, it's breaking out of that national level is difficult for sure. Yeah. I mean, in this day and age, I think probably the main thing is to build that presence online.
Yeah.
I think we were speaking a bit about it before, before this conversation, but yeah, I guess if you're able to build that presence for yourself and that demand, and you're able to show that you have fans in different countries and cities and stuff, then yeah, it kind of opens that door. But yeah, it's a big step for sure.
Yeah, and about being noticed on the social media. Many times I think, if I don't get enough attention, will I ever stop playing music? Will I ever just say, well, that's enough? I didn't make it.
Sure.
I've been like 10 years making music. I have nothing. So it's time to stop. I just basically think that time will come. I don't know if someday we will have enough attention or grow a fan base. But definitely, I will be making music for the rest of my life. I remember having a friend that told me, she was a girl, we were meeting, and she was like, when you get to be like an 80-year-old man, I wish I lived that much.
Sure.
What will you want? Just to be surrounded by friends and family and your wife and your grandchildren? Or would you prefer just to be surrounded by the albums you made and the music that you played and the experience that you had? She was telling me that on that side that you have to stop playing music someday and just grow a family.
Yeah, you have to choose between them, basically.
But it was like an immediately, no, I prefer to be playing music, sorry.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think that like I always came with that kind of mindset as well, just being very devoted to this path and happy to even kind of sacrifice everything else. but to be honest, man, like I think that, as you say, it depends how you define success. And it's one thing to like build a big audience and whatever it is, maybe tour the world and etc. But really, like in terms of this scenario, like to be surrounded by friends, family, and people that love you, etc., or to be surrounded by your music and the albums, you can have both of those things, man. Yeah, you don't have to choose.
I think that I hope to have both of that thing.
Yeah,
but she was like, you spend too much time making music. You spend too much time here. Just cut with that and just focus on having a family and stop dreaming. But it's like, well, I can have both things perfectly.
Yeah, man, you can definitely have both. And again, it's just about managing expectations and having a bit more balance. And
I think that's really a huge problem.
Yeah,
with us, that's in that managing expectations, because when you release a single, at least when I released my first album, I thought that I will have like thousands of streamings and many attention to that album.
Yeah,
when I saw that, maybe in 1 month, 100 people at most. It was like, wow, is this a failure? Now I don't think it's a failure, but my expectations were really high, and many bands have like expectations, and when they see that they don't come to fruition, they just split. Like, we didn't make it. It's not, well, we're not on the 90s where you just signed a contract and you have to go step by step. Maybe someday when I will be like 50 or 60 and I will not be able to see that A5 anymore. Maybe on that day I will have the attention that I wanted when I was like 30. But now if 10 people are really people that enjoy your music, well, we'll just stop. And the point is, enjoy what you're doing just for yourself. Don't make music for the rest of the people, because if I wanted to make music for other people, I would definitely not choose progressive metal, not even metal at all.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, for sure. No, I'm with you. That's right on the money, man. And yeah, Yeah, well said, man, for sure. You got to do it for the love of it, and again, and enjoy that process. And I remember speaking on the podcast about this before. This same thing is something that I hear quite a lot. Is like when your first release is like you've put so much into it, and you put it out, and like nothing happens basically, and that's like I remember hearing that before and thinking like, yeah, this is the death of innocence for an artist, which is like, we all have to go through that. We have big ambitions and we put so much in and we put it out and think, okay, now my stamp has been made on the world, everyone's going to come in and love it, and it's not that simple.
Sad that no one advises you about that. No one comes in. Just remember that you will release a song and you will probably have 15 views at most.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready. Yeah. I kind of thought like, well, this is just happening to me. Like people don't like my music.
Yes,
I failed.
Exactly.
Or other people will release their first song and they will have a lot of attention that I want. And then I found out that that's something that happened to everyone.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, unless you're really well prepared in advance and you or maybe, you have help or you have a team around you that can help manage that.
And then
that's the rite of passage, sadly, is like, doesn't even matter. Even some people spend a lot of money on amazing production and everything, and it doesn't guarantee anything at all, sadly, for better or for worse. But yeah, it's just because, there is more to this game. As you say, it's a different game than the 90s or any time before, really. And you have to be able to build community and build a fan base and a following and, do it that way, or perhaps be a content creator as well, and these kinds of things. And it builds over time. You have to be willing to like be high output, consistent, like over a long period of time. And that's what will really build. And
that's something that you have to learn like by going through it. Like
I thought 100%.
I thought that I'm good. Like I feel myself like good at making the product, doing the music and recording it, but I feel like I'm absolutely horrible at selling that product on the marketing side.
Again, I think that's normal. We're artists,
connecting to people.
So exactly, man. No, 100%. I completely relate, and I think that a lot of people will. I think that we've come from this place of wanting to just create, and as you say, like to make the product or whatever. But like, yeah, it's very difficult for us to be like objective about it and to try and like promote ourselves, and it feels so horrible in a way that we have to train ourselves to do it, and it's difficult, man. It's but ultimately that is what in the long run separates the people that are successful from the people that don't get heard or split up, is they're willing to put in that extra, or I mean, you said about a failure, and I think that's interesting. You said about like releasing the first album and it didn't live up to expectations perhaps, but like you felt like maybe it's a failure, but now you don't see it as one. And I think the definition, I think like failure is a very interesting topic, because really failure is like, it's you only fail if you give up. That's the only way you fail, because you either win or you learn, right?
And I think that you also fail if you think that you have failed.
Yeah, exactly. If you think that's it, I failed, whatever, like the band splits up, that's it, then you have failed. Like that, you failed. There's no arguing that, Whereas, it might feel like a blow at the time, but really, if you're willing to learn from this experience and think, why did this happen? And you're willing to research and realize that actually this happens for a good reason, because it happens to everyone pretty much, you know, and that's because there's more that we have to do. And then you think, well, okay, that was a lot of work already, but
it's not enough.
Right. Yeah, but
it's just the beginning.
Exactly. But you make that conscious decision that, like, okay, well, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep learning, and I'm going to keep trying to improve this and see what I can do better, or maybe make connections and find other people that can help and all of that. And yeah, at that point, that experience is not failure. It's been a very key turning point in your career, you know?
Yes.
So yeah, that's it. And that's why they say, like, maybe it's a cheesy cliche, but like, yeah, don't give up, right? if you want something.
And a good thing that you especially are doing with podcast that you're making is you are kind of creating like a new community for melodic metal, because all the bands and artists that I saw is like music that I really like. All the artists that you feature, it's like people, not music that I will hear and say that it's good, but not for me. No, it's totally just for me. Like that latest track that you released, that was really good.
You.
And a problem that many bands and artists have is that they believe this is some sort of competition, and it is not. Like, everyone that likes metal music will probably have a band. So we have to help each other. No try who is the best. Like, many people just sends you the link.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, listen to me, okay, but you listen to me first.
Yeah.
we will listen to each other. And no interest, just a band that you don't know that comes out of the blue and send you a link to the track. But the chance of speaking with artists, and the chance that you are giving artists to speak is helping a lot to create a community step by step. Like, I watch the videos, and I don't want to see someone saying that, wow, yeah, we are too metal. We just bought a guitar and bass and we start playing. So cool, man. I just want to see the vocal education, how they got into the music, how they feel about that music that they're making, what they want for the present of melodic metal or metal of all kinds. That's pretty more interesting than just saying someone I want to be metal on that. Every interview that we have here for online interviews in Spain, pretty much about the same. Where did you get that name?
Yeah, cool, for sure.
Tell me your influences. Pick the best Spanish bands, not bands, Spanish bands for a festival that you will want to see. And I saw that question. It was like, no one.
Spanish bands. That's funny. No, I mean, but yeah, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate that you're enjoying that. And man, I completely agree with you. Like, yeah, we've all got the cliche interviews, and man, interviews have their place, right? It helps artists get out there and get exposure to more people. But yeah, as you say, a lot of it is the same kind of thing, and that's not really what I'm looking to do here. Like, my main thing about this podcast is actually just like having these conversations. Like, I just
don't
enjoy
feel like
it.
this is an interview. It's like I'm talking with a musician friend from another country. We're speaking and we're giving the chance for people to see what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly, man. And then that acts as a way, like, if anything, like, I've thought about this more and more recently, and the main goal I would kind of like with this podcast is that we can like introduce ourselves like to each other. You know what I mean? Like, people that have been on this podcast and stuff, we can all kind of in a way meet each other through this. And by listening here, like, you really get an idea of who somebody is and their, mentality and stuff like that and what they're into. And then we can all reach out to each other, and as you say, it's all about community in that sense. And that's the driving factor. Like going forward, I only want to provide a lot more for this, but yeah, man, that's what it's all about. Like if you're seeing it as like competition or whatever, like trying to be the best, you're gonna have a hard time of it. And as you said, if you're just sending your link, like listen to me, what you've got to think is like that's never going to work, right? And the reason it's never going to work is because you're just messaging somebody and telling them what you want. Why is anybody going to be interested? Like, especially if they don't know you, you're going to be like, okay, cool that you want that, but like, I'm busy, Everybody is busy.
That's right.
Everybody is busy, man. Like, if you're a random person just saying, do this because I want you to, it doesn't work. So that's the thing about like community and stuff. It's like, really think instead about what you can give or what you can do to help out, or reach out to other people whose music you enjoy and tell them you enjoy it, and think more about that. And then it kind of naturally comes, when you make music and whatever, people will see it, and they'll be like,
if you want to draw attention from people to your music, you can definitely not send just a link or just make a post saying our song is out
now.
That never worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
It works like speaking to people, something I've been lacking for my past, because it's like I've always felt like I have a hard time speaking to a camera. Not now that we're having a conversation, but when I have just to speak to the camera,
by yourself,
yes, it's like, wow, it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But connecting to people is really important. To make them listen to your music. We are listeners too. We are not just musicians.
Mm-hmm.
We have to give them what we want. That's something that I think so often when I have to write music. It's like, as someone who likes music, what kind of music would I love to hear? When I make my songs, it's like this is what I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want people that feels close to you, that I've made music, but this is what I am, and I'm here with you to live this process together, to listen to my music, not some random guy on the internet that says I release a song, I'm a star. No. That doesn't work.
That's it, man. For sure. And man, ultimately it's a tricky game, but that's why we're better off like making connections and like having support from each other. Like as artists, we should be supporting one another, and in terms of with fans, like, you have to make that connection. Like we had a clip from the last podcast that was about like, really it's about like making friends now, much more than it is just fans, like numbers that you want to listen to you, it's actually just making connections with real people.
That's a horrible word for me, fan. Well, fan is something that I have down here, giving me and it's probably getting through the mic. But I've never thought that I had any fan. Follower is a more right word. Follower is someone that's following you on the social media. But I think that I just have people that enjoy my music, and that's probably people that I enjoy theirs. But fan is a word that makes a distance between the artist and the people who's listening to you. Like you're treating them like they're down there listening to you while you're a star. I remember that I am the one that has the Tales of Arken social media. But there was a time I didn't have time enough to spend on the social media, and I asked Ale, guitar player, that if he could take the social media for a week. And I remember him making a post saying, wow, we're growing a fan base, cool. And I said, don't call people fans because they will think that you're a star, and they're just some fun girl down there jumping. And you don't want to feel like that, and nobody wants to feel that way. So don't call people fans, because it's not the right word for people that are just making uncommercial music.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. Like, as you say, it's a one-dimensional relationship. Like, as you say, it seems as if like, oh, I'm the artist with massive ego, and I just want you to like worship me. And you got to start with humility. You know, maybe one day you'll be a massive star and you'll have thousands of, fans, whatever, at your arena. But like, yeah, man, if you have to have humility when you're starting out. You have to be willing to, just spend the time like with making those connections with people, building a community. Not you're just like, I'm a guy, you're a guy, and anybody that wants to listen to our music, that's just another person. No one is like above anybody else. So
that happens, especially to those that think that they are making music and nobody else. Like, I'm making music, I'm an artist, and people don't hear are people that listen to music. No, man, we are all people making music down there.
Yeah, man, especially in metal, as you say, like probably most of the fans of metal are musicians anyway. So we all want to be heard and stuff, really. We all want you to check out our thing, whatever. Like, so yeah, it's not fair and it's not wise to treat it in this way, as you say, like looking down. Yeah, for absolutely, for sure, man. Yeah, that's an important topic that we could go on for. But I do want to touch upon something else that you said though, that because we've been speaking about this a little bit, and you mentioned it there about doing interviews in Spain and then being like, your favorite Spanish bands, right? And so the topic here is about I guess the kind of nationalism that's there, but also the dynamic that's interesting, because I haven't had anybody on the podcast yet from Spain. And Spain is in a unique position because obviously many countries, they have their own languages and they have their own music and stuff that's there. But we all know that English is the big international language for music and such, at least like metal music or whatever. So bands from all over the world are mostly making music with English lyrics and stuff. Spain is a bit different because like there's actually a huge portion of the world, and especially the audience for metal music and stuff, that actually do speak Spanish. So you have interesting experience with this. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, that's something that it's hard to go through. Like, if I'm in that situation, I have to figure out how to get out and explain. Like, Spain is not a country that develops many international bands. There are not many bands in Spain that are known outside from here. There are countries with bands, exotic bands, like Myrath is the name of that metal with Arabic things. It's like, wow, it's exotic, so people will draw attention on that product. But here in Spain, when I'm making music, I'm just influenced by bands from myself here. Probably same bands that influence people from Germany, Sweden, United Kingdom, and all that country. But here in Spain, people are influenced by bands from here that sings in Spanish and only Spanish. And then we had the problem that if we make our music in Spanish, we'll be on the national situation just only here. And Spanish metal and rock has its very unique sound that even if you hear a Spanish band singing in English, you will notice the first hear that they are from Spain. Probably for accent, probably for the kind of music. And many people think that we make music in Spanish and we have the chance to go to South America. Going to South America is really expensive.
Yeah,
it's really easier to go to France, Germany, Italy, and that country. It's cheaper than going to South America because probably you will have to run with the cost of going there.
Yeah.
And then the main problem that we have is in Spain, not many people understand English. And they expect us to be in Spanish. And when they see that we're not, it's like, wow, they dare to speak in English, being from Spain.
Yeah.
Who do they think they are? Speaking another language. Do they hate Spain? No, it's not about that. Kind of like Spain. It's not like we hate our language, nothing like that. But we just want to go there. But it's like people at the end of the shows just come to me and tell me things like, I don't understand the lyrics. That's why I cannot be a follower of you. Because if I don't understand the lyrics, I can like the music. And what if you could understand the lyrics, but the lyrics were just damp? Something stupid. The music is good, but the lyrics are dumb. But you understand them, then you will like that. Yeah. Good. And the problem is not just the people that choose to hear music, and they don't choose you because you're not in Spanish. Problem is that festivals, shows, managers especially, they just give you a no. We don't want you on a roster because you are in English. They don't say that specifically. Yeah, sure. They don't say, well, we want you to be in Spanish. If you're not, sorry, but you're not in. But you see the bands that they have. And it's like Spanish. Maybe some metalcore band that's in English, because I don't know any metalcore band that's in Spanish. But it's something that metalcore scene, I'm not into that scene because it's really different.
Yeah, more commercial, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, they like do it in English, and it's right. They have a Spanish accent, but they keep singing in English, and everybody likes it. But if you try to make melodic metal in English, it's like you are out of everything, because you want to be from outside, then go outside. We don't want you here. But then the other problem is that people on the rest of Europe will see you that, oh, a Spanish band. Well, I know a few, and they're very bad. I won't waste my time on that Spanish band. And that's like, wow, what do we do? I don't want to sing Spanish. I want to make my music affordable for everyone. I want to make my music like the rest of Europe. Why do we have to strap in Spanish? And what's the right call? Shall we go outside of the country and live in just another country like the UK or Ireland, maybe Italy? I don't know. Or if we stay here, we have that curse on us that we cannot go popular because we're not in Spanish. And that's the situation. It's really frustrating because you don't know what's the right call. You don't know what you can do. When people watch your videos, most people don't attach to it because it's in English. But when you go to shows, it's a different thing, because they don't think that you are like a narcissist that chooses speaking English instead of Spanish. They like the music, they enjoy, and then they come and tell to you. But definitely it's a situation that we have to change, because we in Spain, sorry for saying that, if there's more Spanish people saying this, we think that we are the best at everything. Like, we have our own Iron Maiden, we have our own AC/DC, and we don't have anything like that. We have our product. It's different, but it's not better. And that's the problem, that people think that we are the best at everything we do. And if you think that you have mastered something, you won't learn anything new from that subject.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it does create a more stale environment if it's kind of confined in that way. I think it's an interesting situation, because you reached out to me before telling me about your frustrations with this, and like what I think we should do. And I thought, no, that's an interesting scenario. And you guys have been a bit split with it in a way, because as you said, all of your lyrics for your music is in English. So your music is in English, basically. But then the majority of like your social media and stuff, and yeah, as you said before as well, your press, your interviews is in Spanish.
Yes.
And the thing is, that makes sense, because I would imagine the majority of your following is in Spain right now, because that's where you guys are from, you know? And that is the normal way, right? That you build kind of a following where you are, and that kind of gives you this platform to start like moving up and moving into other areas. So it is an interesting scenario where really where you are, your home, like has this confined where they really want you to be a Spanish band. and obviously you guys, you want to be an international like European metal band, right? And yeah, it's true, man. Like if you sang in Spanish, like that does create a barrier to the rest of the world. It doesn't make it impossible, but like, yeah, you're going to have a much easier time of it internationally if you're in English. Whereas, yeah, in Spain you have like they want you to be in Spanish, so it's a predicament, eh?
I spoke a few days back with my manager, and we were speaking about the upcoming shows, and I told him, what are our chances to go out there? Could you like arrange some show
other countries?
Yeah, out of here. It doesn't matter if we have to spend money on going out there and we don't have that money back. Not a problem, because we want to go out there. And he told me, well, people that arrange shows out there want that band that they pick to go to another country to be popular first on its country. And it's like, wow, I want to be popular outside of here, so I can play out, but I cannot be seen out there. I cannot play out there because I'm not popular in my country, and probably I will never be. That's the problem that we talk, and that's the problem. That's like the wall that I found. I have this wall. How can I go and jump over it? How can I make people from outside to choose us for a festival? Maybe, I don't know, in Poland. First in a country, if we are not popular in Spain, because people doesn't want to hear something that it's not in the language, it doesn't feel like familiar. The funny thing is that they love hearing metal bands from outside. It's not a problem. English is not a problem if they're hearing people from outside. Hearing Metallica, Iron Maiden, not a problem. Well, the problem is that you, being Spanish, want to put yourself on that same in the same way, singing in English. It's like that's a problem. I believe that if we were from, I don't know, America or England, and we sang in English, and we came here in Spain with the same music, no different, they will love it. Like, wow, look at this band. They come from that country and they do that. Wow, amazing. We don't have bands like that in Spain.
Yeah, it's funny. It's all about the the idea, I suppose. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I can understand that it's frustrating. I think that ultimately, yeah, it's something that you probably don't want to like get too bogged down in. Like, ultimately, you've just got to make a decision. And I mean, we spoke about this before, and as you said here, like, you clearly want to make the music in English, and you want to be able to go around Europe and stuff, especially more, or, you know, just so like, yeah, I think that you've got to probably just shut it out. You know, the idea of and like, yeah, build that international following online. The tricky thing is like where you've got like your, if you're going for an English speaking audience or an international audience and you have English music, then obviously you're going to need to put that English into like your community and your social media and everything like that. Because that's the difficulty thing, is like trying to do both. makes it difficult. I mean, I know that people from other countries, especially where they're like Spanish speaking or something like that, like often do make posts where they put both languages in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it is some extra challenge and some extra work for you. But yeah, you know, I guess it depends. Like you can either prioritize the Spanish scene first and maybe start towards being like a Spanish band and then grow out of that, or yeah, just go straight for the international scene and do everything in English and just tune out people. And man, like if you become successful as an international band and you tour Europe and all of this, doesn't matter if you sing in English, like eventually the Spanish people would be won over and be like, oh yeah, they're a Spanish band, like we're proud of them, you know, because they're doing well.
Yeah.
It's just that early stage where everyone wants to drag you down and be like, who do you think you are? But
they don't support you when you're starting, but then we're so proud that this band is from Spain. Like, wow, really?
That's it.
It's like if I make this something I talked with my bandmates yesterday, with this new album. That we're thinking about calling it just Tales of Arken, like third album.
Nice.
Third Tales of Arken. I want to make the album of my life, like the best album that I could, the album that I dream of making.
Nice.
But if it doesn't go popular, I'm just thinking, well, maybe next one will have to be easier to listen, more commercial, not selling the music, but we could make it more simple, maybe for most people to hear it. And if we make that, then I'm sure that people will hear to the album because it's commercial. They will hear it, and then they will say, "Wow, their worst album. I prefer the first three that I didn't listen when they were released." Now they're making commercial music, but wow, this is horrible. Why they didn't stick to the first albums? I don't know why.
Yeah, that they didn't listen to anyway. I've got you, man. I got you. But yeah, in regards to that, man, it's definitely, I think, most important to just be authentic. You know, to make the music that, as you said, you make what you want to hear, right? And I think that's the way that you got to do it, man. And then you make that music, and then you find the audience that resonates with that. You know. And there is that audience there, man, and you'll only find them more and more. I'm sure of it.
It's hard finding your Nietzsche. I heard that word films back, Nietzsche. Your audience, but what kind of audience will like what we are doing? It's hard to find because you think, well, maybe people that like steampunk things, maybe people that like metal. If they like metal, what kind of metal they like? Maybe I'm just looking on the wrong place. I don't know. Have to look for my audience here, but in just another place that has nothing in common. Maybe it's really hard. It's a really big challenge to find the people that's the right people to hear your music.
It is. Then that's the marketing aspect to it, you know. And as you say, something you've got to either like pick up and learn, or you know, get help with. But again, man, that's the point. Like we can make connections with one another, and we can help each other out, and you know, it's all good. You've just got to keep plugging at it, keep enjoying the process, and making good music. And things will happen. And man, I'm sure with you guys, like I have a really great feeling for you guys because, you know, you have that determination and that's tenacity. And now you have the band as well with really great chemistry. You're able to like make your own music and your own music videos and everything. So yeah, it's all good. You guys are on a really great track. And I'm excited to see where it goes from here, man.
Thank you so much.
Cool. So, dude, is there anything else you want to touch upon? Because we could speak all day, like, I'm sure. But,
I'm sure, man.
But, yeah, I mean, like, probably yeah, let me know if there's anything else you want to kind of specifically go for. Let's discuss that, and we'll kind of wrap it up.
I'm good with the conversation that we had, because if this was an interview, like when you make an interview, like, at the end of it, they tell you just send a message to your fans. No, I could send a message for all of us musicians that we are being featured here on your channel. Like I said before, that you and making, contributing to create a community that's growing slowly into something new. And we will probably have like a new era for melodic metal, a new standard, a new kind of metal bands that are betting on melodic metal instead of what people say that it's modern metal. Because I don't, for me, modern metal is not the same as for them. And I believe that most people here on the channel are just trying to take their own vision for the music, to be a band that has the sound like a band in the 2020. So to everybody that is making music, just take risk. Don't do it with the fear that you won't be heard or liked. Just keep on doing that music that you love. Even if you think that no one will like that, doesn't matter, because you have to like your product. It's like if you are not comfortable with yourself, you cannot go out there and try to be liked. Because first you have to love your music, and then people will love it. Because I believe that people notice the difference between a band that makes it to be popular, that a band that makes it because it's just free time and just making music, and the people that are making music because they love what they are doing. They love the result of the productions. And you can, especially if you're a musician, you can especially notice when someone has made music with a heart. So people here, keep making original music. Don't make covers. Keep making your music, take risk, and don't give up. Don't give up. Only if you don't want to play music anymore, that's okay. But if you have that inside and you need to express yourself through music, keep doing it, because I'm sure that there will be people that will love that music as much as you love it. It happens to me, and it will happen to you.
Right on, man. That's perfect. Perfect message, man. I absolutely love it. Well, dude, thank you so much for your time on the podcast today, man. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to chatting a lot more and seeing everything that's to come from Tales of Arken.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here.
That's all for this episode of Creating a Universe. A special thank you to Erik for joining me. I really enjoyed our conversation. Be sure to check out the band on Facebook and Instagram at Tales of Arken. I'd also very much recommend giving their music a listen on Spotify and checking out their fantastic music videos on YouTube. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.